It's been a long time coming, but I can finally say I'm Harrison101 and welcome back to Dre TV.
Welcome to you all at home.
You've still got a chance to win this race, haven't you?
Just try. I wanna be the only one to make you
Hello everybody, I'm Harrison101 and welcome to episode 8 of Dre TV here on the Harrison101 YouTube channel. Before I start, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who supported the show since we began. Dre TV has had over 70,000 views, well actually over 50,000 views roughly since I started this series, and it's gone so well, and I'm glad you all appreciate it. And I know so many people have been asking me when this show is coming back, because it seems that you guys seem to all love it. So I guess that's a good sign when people are always asking me when is it coming back, when is it coming back, will it come back, etc. I just want to say as well, thank you all so much for allowing me to hit 1 million views on YouTube. It's the most surreal feeling in the world knowing you've been watched 1 million times. That's ridiculous. That just this pokey 21-year-old video maker from London who has a passion for motorsport is able to share that passion and knowledge and entertainment with so many people. It's an honour, it really is. So thank you all so much for over 1 million views on my videos since I started back in September 2011. It means the world to me, it really does. So thank you all so much. That's about the end of the positivity on this video. But this is going to be a Monaco 2014 special edition of Dre TV because everything's got to do with Monaco. I know what you guys are thinking. I have missed a lot of racing since the last episode. I believe I've missed 5 races, 2 Formula 1 and 3 MotoGP. Don't worry, there is a second episode coming later this week where I will catch up and it will be only those race reviews I've missed from so far this season. But until then, this is all to do with Monaco, considering how special a Grand Prix weekend it was. On this episode, we'll be reviewing the Monaco Grand Prix. I'll be talking about whether I think Rosberg pulled off into the escape road on purpose, the situation regarding Hamilton and Rosberg's relationship, and of course, Ask Dre, and an update on the Castrol GP Predictor League we've been running. So in the meantime, here's the Monaco Grand Prix review for 2014. Hope you guys enjoy it. The storm before the calm in Monaco hit home the day before the Grand Prix. In Q3 on Saturday, with just 2 minutes to go in the session, with Rosberg having already set the fastest time to date with a 1:15.9, he made a mistake coming up towards Mirabeau, outbroke himself to avoid hitting the wall, turned off track and into the escape road. With the yellow flags pulled out as Nico reversed back onto the track, the session was effectively over, as the other cars had to slow down through the start of Sector 2. Rosberg had his second pole of the season, but Lewis Hamilton looked visibly peeved afterwards. More on that later. So the race began with 21 starters as Pastor Maldonado stalled on the line with a fuel pump problem and had to retire before his race had even started. Hell, given Monaco, maybe that was for the best. It was Kimi Raikkonen who had stunned everyone with a monster start from 6th to 4th, passing Alonso and Vettel in the process. More bad luck though for Force India's Sergio Perez as he collided with Jenson Button at Mirabeau, causing a safety car. Perez still failing to score a point in Monte Carlo throughout his Formula 1 career to date. Raikkonen was up to an incredible 3rd after the safety car had gone in. Meanwhile, Sebastian Vettel's Rosland season would continue after suffering a turbo failure on lap 8. His awful luck continues so far this season. Meanwhile, Sauber's Adrian Sutil had an early stop and started overtaking the back runners, including Grosjean and Ericsson, until he crashed at the Novelle chicane on lap 23, bringing out another safety car. Kimi Raikkonen's superb start was curtailed after Max Chilton collided with him, causing a puncture, forcing the Iceman to stop one extra time, sending him to the back of the field. More bad luck for John-Eric Vergne as he was handed a drive-through penalty for an unsafe release into the path of McLaren's Kevin Magnussen. After safety car number 2, the Mercedes had pulled off into the distance, with Ricciardo 3rd and Alonso now 4th. Then came two engine failures, one for Jean-Eric Vergne's Renault on lap 50, quickly followed by Valtteri Bottas' Mercedes-powered Williams on lap 55. To pile up the misery, Sauber's Esteban Gutierrez crashed into the barrier at Rascasse on lap 59, ending his race and promoting Jules Bianchi into an unprecedented 10th. However, he had to take a 5-second stop-go penalty for serving his original stop-go under a safety car, which wasn't allowed. Jules Bianchi decided not to take the penalty and instead have 5 seconds added to his end of race time. Meanwhile, the two McLarens and Hulkenberg started scrapping, with Jenson Button passing his teammate at turn 1 for 6th, followed by an agitated Kimi Räikkönen trying to do the same at the Grand Hotel hairpin, but he overcooked it and both he and Magnussen hit the outside wall. Both were able to continue after reversing out, but Räikkönen lost another lap in the pits for repairs, pushing Bianchi up to an unprecedented 8th place. At the front though, a game changer. After consistent pressure from Hamilton in second, a piece of dirt got inside his visor and into his eye, causing him to slow down. After losing 15 seconds in the space of a few laps, Daniel Ricciardo suddenly had a shot at second place, but some superb defensive driving from the one-eyed Hamilton at the end secured his second place. But at the front, it was Nico Rosberg who had dominated from start to finish, stopping Hamilton's 4-race winning streak, seemingly at the most critical time, and retaking the lead in the World Championship. Lewis Hamilton had to settle for second on this one, and it was Daniel Ricciardo who managed his second consecutive podium by finishing in 3rd place. Fernando Alonso claimed 4th was the best he could realistically manage, and further back Nico Hulkenberg pulled off some superb passing to finish 5th, his best result of the season so far. Jenson Button in 6th for McLaren, Felipe Massa's one-stop strategy pushing them up from 16th to a great 7th place result. Romain Grosjean in 8th, securing 4 more points for Lotus, and in what could be the drive of the season so far, Jules Bianchi's post-penalty finishing in an incredible 9th place, his career best and Marussia's first points after 45 career races and 2.5 seasons of trying, a monumental achievement for John Booth's team. Kevin Magnussen securing the final point in 10th. So, with 6 rounds down, Nico Rosberg retakes the championship lead with 122 points. Teammate Lewis Hamilton hot on his heels again with 118. After Vettel's second retirement, Daniel Ricciardo moves up to 4th in the standings with 57 points, taking Nico Hulkenberg with him with 47. In the Constructors, Mercedes have an incredible 141 point lead over Red Bull in second with 99, Ferrari in third with 78, and Force India leading the midfield charge with 67 in 4th, and McLaren in 5th with 52. So what did I make of the Grand Prix? Monaco was surprisingly enough the second best race of 2014, even when you ignore the drama of the politics surrounding it. For a Monaco, this was way above average. The action was good, there was a surprisingly large amount of passing and general ballsiness, and the finish of Ricciardo versus a vulnerable Hamilton, Raikkonen's hijinks, and the underdog element of seeing Jules Bianchi getting Marussia's first ever points, shattering the curse of the low tier runners, left a feel-good aura to the race that I haven't felt so far this season. 7 out of 10 for me. Definitely worth a rewatch. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed that little race review. Next up, an update on the Castrol GP Predictor League. Remember, you can join the link in the description. It is a Predictor League on Castrol's race website. You can predict the results, predict the top 10, the pole, the fastest lap, and who gains the most positions in the course of a Grand Prix. And if you correctly guess that right, you get points. The more points you get, points mean prizes in this system. In my league, the top 3 will all get Harrison 101 t-shirts, and the overall winner will get the t-shirt and a copy of F1 2014 on the platform of your choice. Obviously it's been a little while, so we've just updated the standings now after Monaco, and it turns out Henry Järvelin, and I think that's how you pronounce it, Henry Järvelin, and I hope I got it right. Henry, if I got it wrong, I apologise, mate. With Heppiger Formula 1 now leading the way with 435 points. Joe McMillan's been knocked down into second with 425, and Ampwell Racing, led by Chris Halliwell, is knocked down to third with 418 points. I am still leading the YouTubers with 376 in 7th. Like I said, if I get in the top 3 anywhere, I will take myself out of the rankings when considering who gets the t-shirt. Just bear that in mind. Also, look out for Vandana Sital there in joint 5th with in 6th place there as well. She's very, very good as well. I'm going to give her a shout out on there as well. So hi Vandana, hi. The Dutch always beating the English at something. But see, like I said, if you want to join, the link is in the description. T-shirts for the winners. Good luck. And obviously we've got Canada in 2 weeks' time, so that's the next race. So get them in now if you can, and yeah, enjoy it. Yeah. So in the meantime, I also want to share with you a blog I put up on the website, harrison101.com. It is my brand new website. So if you haven't checked that out yet already, now would be a good time, because it is a brand new website. I'll have all my videos on there and all my blogs, so some exclusive content you will not see anywhere else as well. So if you get a chance, check it out. I'm going to read this out to you now, but there's that and a lot more on Formula 1 and MotoGP all over on the website. So if you get a chance, check it out and enjoy it. But until then, here is Hamilton versus Rosberg Part 2, Shit Just Got Real. And the reason why it's Part 2 because there's a little bit of backstory. Because I wrote an article on the Friday of this past week talking about why it wasn't really a feud or a rivalry, and then Monaco's qualifying session happened, and as a result, I had to write a follow-up the following day. Funny how these things turn out. But yeah, enjoy it. Don't you just hate it when something happens that immediately makes your previous blog completely invalid? Thanks, Nico Rosberg, and now I've got to do this shit all over again. The whole previous post I made was about the whole Hamilton versus Rosberg feud being mostly smoke and mirrors to this point. A feud that wasn't really there, but the media desperately trying to stir into the pot, making this situation more than it should be. Then Monaco qualifying happened. For those living under a rock and haven't seen it yet, with about 2 minutes to go in Q3, Nico Rosberg made a mistake through Casino Square and into Mirabeau, locked up heavily and abandoned his lap by going into the escape road, reversing back onto the track a few moments later. As a result, they pulled out the yellow flag, and as Hamilton came through, effectively ending the session for him and everyone else on track due to the yellow flags. Rosberg really rubbed salt in it by celebrating his pole afterwards. Hamilton looking visibly pissed, refusing to shake hands with his teammate, and generally looking like someone's been refused a second helping of cake from the pantry. After the race, Hamilton was despondent, stating that he was on a pole lap, and his relationship with Rosberg was essentially like Senna and Prost's. I don't know if Senna and Prost sat down and talked it out. I quite like the way Senna dealt with it, so I'm going to take a page out of his book, said Lewis afterwards. Nico came out and apologised in the press conference afterwards for accidentally robbing Hamilton of another opportunity to beat his lap time, but Hamilton didn't even have a response. It looks like his bad feelings of being shafted have boiled over. So, was Rosberg's actions deliberate or not? Hard to say. A lot of people seem to be super analysing the footage, saying that he made awkward steering motions before Mirabeau and whatnot. To be honest, for me, it's inconclusive. A lot of folks are making comparisons to Michael Schumacher's stunt at Monaco in 2006, essentially pretending to lose control at 14 miles an hour at Razkaz. This one isn't anywhere near as clean cut. I don't think there's a valid argument beyond reasonable doubt either way, and if you can't prove it for sure, you have to let it stand. As much as it's really easy to slander Hamilton for sulking like my sister does, he does have a right to be a little bit peeved. Through no fault of his own, he was robbed of a chance at pole, and what's worse is that his teammate was the one to do it, even if it was accidental, but very accurate. So where do we go from here? I suspect Hamilton will get his head down and get down to business tomorrow, channeling his Senna disciple-like nature by going by his post-qualifying interview. Is that a good thing though, I wonder? I've always thought that Hamilton is at his weakest when he lets his emotions get in the way, and that's when he's at his most vulnerable. See the entire 2011 season for more evidence of that, when he had multiple dramatic tangles with Felipe Massa over the course of the season, in places like Monaco, Singapore and India. To me, this is all the microcosm-style cult of Lewis Hamilton. He's the biggest and most recognisable star in the sport today, and as a result, it comes with a media circus. From his high-profile girlfriend, his nightlife, his other personal relationships, his controversy on and off the track, and as a result, the British media, so desperate to see him succeed again. And given the fan reaction on Twitter, with many fans attacking Rosberg with racism, Nazi and death threats, it goes to show you that many fans are so deep into this Hamilton cult and fanboyism that it negatively affects the sport on the internet. I feel bad for Nico, didn't break a rule proven by the FIA, and gets attacked for simply making a minor mistake. This whole incident was minor, enhanced by the aggressive Hamilton fans on the internet and the British media. This was a golden carrot for Sky Sports. They had been dying for something like this to happen. I switched Sky off early after Johnny Herbert was actively trying to stir the pot super bad and using irony to try and talk up the possibility of a Hamilton-Rosberg feud. Like I said, this was a golden carrot for Sky, because now they have all the material they need to hype this up. If you are tired of Sky constantly talking about Hamilton now, get used to it, it'll be happening even more now. Tomorrow will be the most exciting day of the F1 calendar since opening night. It's a shame it's over the politics and personal drama more so than what's on the track, but hey, anything to get people talking. Heck, you just read a 900-word blog on the subject. You must be just a little bit curious to see what happens if you're reading this, right? See you then. If you've got any thoughts on that blog or any other thoughts, obviously the comment section is your friend. Like I said, check out the site harrison101.com and check the blog section for more. Got a blog about Marquez and the MotoGP season so far, as well as the 2 blogs about Hamilton and Rosberg, and one of my little fun ones, a top 10 of my favourite Sebastian Vettel helmet designs, because I am a complete nerd like that. Anywho, let's do Ask Dre. Okay, first up on Ask Dre, we have a question from Owen Harmon, and he asks, can Toro Rosso replicate their qualifying form witnessed in Monaco for the foreseeable future? Yeah, like John-Eric Verne and Daniel Fiat there, or Kaivat, or however you pronounce his friggin' name, because David Cross seems to change it via every Grand Prix, it's ridiculous. But they qualified very well in Monaco, both of them getting into Q3, which is even more amazing considering it's Fiat's first time he's even raced around Monaco competitively ever. It's hard to say because I think the midfield right now is so close. I think anywhere from 7th downwards, 7 to maybe 17, it's so close at the moment where one bad qualifying could put you apart from the rest. Like, look at Bottas, he's qualified in the top 5 on 2 occasions this season. In Monaco, 13th. Felipe Massa was unlucky, but you got the 2 Toro Rossos making it in, you got the 2 Force Indias, the 2 McLarens. Magnussen made it into Q3, Button did not. Hulkenberg making it, getting knocked out in Q3, Perez making it in. It's one of those things where it swings on a dime every Grand Prix, so it's really hard to say whether anyone will keep the level of consistency going. So I think it's going to change every Grand Prix, and I guess that's a good thing for entertainment fans, I suppose. Ryan King asking, which race was better, the Monaco Grand Prix or the Indy 500? Yes, for those that follow me on Twitter, you may know it. I actually popped my IndyCar cherry yesterday by watching the Indy 500 for the first time, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It's. I know people say, oh, all they ever do is turn left, but that's very entertaining at 225 miles an hour. It was a great race, and I really enjoyed it. There was a lot of very high tension moments. The finish was fantastic. It was basically, because of a red flag at the end, it was basically a 6-lap sprint to the finish between Ryan Hunter-Reay, who ended up winning by 0.06 of a second. We Helio in second, and Marco Andretti in third over the line, and Ryan Hunter-Reay pulled off this incredible pass on the back straight with 3 laps to go, where he came onto the grass, he was so close to the inside curve, and forced Helio out wide, and it was a brilliant pass. But I really enjoyed the Indy 500. I'm definitely going to be talking about it more often, and I might watch more IndyCar soon. I mean, it was very enjoyable for me, and something I really should check out more. I've always said I should check out more motorsport, and I've never got around to it, and I really enjoyed IndyCar, so that might encourage me to watch more often, which is definitely a good thing. Daniel Brennan asks, have you lost any respect for Lewis Hamilton after some of his actions this weekend? Yes, is the answer to that question. I know people are going to hate on me for, oh, Dre, why are you hating on Hamilton? This is just my honest opinion. I was getting ready to start I was warming up to Hamilton again. He had, for the most part, seemed to have mellowed out. He seemed to have dropped his media circus posse of people and his dog that was around him all the time. He turned into a little bit of a parody, Hamilton, and it come this little protective Floyd Mayweather style group of bodyguards around him. But he seemed to have dropped that and got on with his racing, and he was doing a very good job, and I couldn't say anything bad about that. Hamilton was just doing what he does best, which is race. But I think Hamilton treated the situation very badly. You could just see the contrast between him and Rosberg in post race. Rosberg was clearly trying to put the team back together, say, we'll always be friends, always going to be friends, and we're going to do our best to try and make this work. Hamilton's like, we're not friends, we're colleagues. And basically, I think Hamilton was being a dick, basically. I mean, for those that don't know, Hamilton and Rosberg were teammates when they were younger, before they were even in Formula 1. So they've known each other about 14, 15 years. And so for Hamilton to come out and say that, oh, we're not friends, we're colleagues, clearly Hamilton's taken this weekend to heart for what was at most a debatable accident, at worst. I found it was disappointing. I mean, Hamilton came out of the car, didn't even shake Rosberg's hand after the race. Don't get me wrong, Rosberg wasn't offering it out either, but why should he when Hamilton's been the one that's been pretentious and dickish the whole weekend? To me, this is just my take, Hamilton should just keep quiet about these kind of situations. And yeah, I've lost some respect for him because I thought, Hamilton, you're a grown man at 29, be the bigger man here. Be the bigger man, shake his hand, and let's move on. Get him next time in Canada. I don't understand why he's got to be so bitter about it. But that's just my take on the situation. I'm just going to try and find one more question on Twitter. It was from Joe Ellis. Joe Ellis asking, if you were in Lewis's position, how would you handle the press? I would handle the press by not talking to them. I mean, I know it's quite a dickish thing to do because they're just trying to do their jobs as well, ultimately, but the press spins shit. Kimi Räikkönen gets it. Kimi Räikkönen is a guy that the less you give the press, the less they have to work with, and the less believable any spin is on the situation. Don't get me wrong, I know it's a bit douchey sometimes that Räikkönen does this and, doesn't even give the press a bone to play with, but you can see why it's effective. Just don't talk to them. Go back to the garage, have an ice cream, get Nicole to suck your dick and just move on already. It's not one situations where the press will spin this for or against you, so don't bother talking to them. Just leave it alone and go home for a week. Just take it easy, chill, and just move on with it, I would say. Andrew Hamilton asks, can Marussia now push on and score more points this season, or was their 9th place a result of good luck? That won't happen again. I'm leaning more towards the luck side, Andrew, to be honest. A lot of shit happened in Monaco that got Marussia into the points. There was something like 8 or 9 different cars that got involved in either tangles, collisions, engine blowouts, or driver errors. Like Gutierrez, Sutil, Bottas, Verne, Vettel. Räikkönen had a crazy race. Magnussen had some incidents. And it bumped up guys like Grosjean and Jules Bianchi. So yeah, I don't see it happening at any other time this season. Owen Quenby asking, do you think Sauber will score points? Yes, they probably will. They were unlucky not to score points at Monaco yesterday. Gutierrez was on for 2 points in 9th until he spun and hit the barrier at Razkas. Sutil was looking okay as well until he made a driver error. They will get points. Sauber's biggest issue is their reliability more than anything else. Having 2 below-average drivers doesn't help, but there will be another race where some crazy stuff happens, and I'm sure Sauber will benefit if they can keep out of trouble. Probably Singapore, I reckon, will be their best bet for that now. Because on pure pace, they're not good enough to get into the top 10 on merit now, unfortunately. That's just the reality of the situation. Nathan Green, do you have a spare $638 million to buy Caterham if Fernandez does end up selling Caterham at the end of the season? I feel so. I want to feel bad for Fernandez, but QPR just got promoted, so it can't be all bad news right now. But I do feel bad for Caterham after all their hard work. Marussia suddenly comes along and beats them to their goal of scoring points. That might have been the straw that broke the camel's back for Fernandez, really. I hope he doesn't sell, because I like Tony. He's a good guy. He really is. I follow him on Twitter. He's a very nice bloke. Very giving towards his fans and people that admire him. He's a very, very nice guy. Very altruistic. But Caterham just isn't working. And Fernandez did say this was going to be the make-or-break season for the team. So if it wasn't going to work now, it wasn't going to work ever. And now Marussia is not scoring not only 1, but 2 points. There's a good chance... There's a very good chance now that Caterham will not get into the points at all this season and will be bottom of the constructors, which I guess is just not good news. I'm going to put these two together here, Liam Sotos and Dan Bull. Then Dan Bull asking, who do you think will be first and third in the Drivers' Championship? And Sotos thinking, where do you think Ricciardo will finish up? I think Hamilton will win the title this year. I think Hamilton is just a better driver than Rosberg overall. I think Rosberg's only good around certain tracks like Bahrain and Monaco. I think Hamilton is just better and more consistent over the course of a season now. And basically with Ricciardo, I think Ricciardo's in a fight for third, and he's got a good chance of getting third because Alonso is just he's got a Ferrari which is clearly the third best in the paddock right now. Red Bull have a better package than Ferrari do. It's just Red Bull aren't as reliable. That's the problem. Ask Sebastian Vettel. Vettel has had like at least 4 of 6 Grand Prix this season where he's had some kind of mechanical issue plague his weekend. The only one where it didn't really affect him was Spain a couple of weeks ago, where he came 4th from 15th on the grid. So, you know, I think it'll be between Ricciardo, Alonso, Vettel, and maybe even Hülkenberg for third in the Drivers' Championship, because Force India seem to be punching well above their weight right now, which is great to see. And finally, Richard Evans asking, do you think the situation at Mercedes could end up like what happened at McLaren in 2007? Probably is the answer to that. I think in 2007, Hamilton was the innocent one, while Alonso was being the douchebag, and now the roles have kind of reversed, where Hamilton's being more douchey about the situation, where Rosberg is just trying to be mild-mannered and mature about this whole situation. It could very well end up being like that, but I don't think either man will leave the team. That's just how I see it anyway. I think Mercedes have got the most overpowered car we've seen in Formula 1 in about 25 years. So why would they want to walk away from a team that strong at the moment? It doesn't make any sense. And even if they did, who would take them on? Red Bull's driver lineup is pretty set. Ferrari's is pretty set. McLaren, maybe, if Jenson Button decides to move on. But there's not a lot of options out there right now, even so I don't think that will actually happen. And finally, it came in literally as I was recording this video. Per Nielsen asking, how unlucky was Magnussen when Kimi stopped both their cars in the hairpin? Very unlucky. Raikkonen had got the move, but he obviously overcooked the hairpin, and there was just nowhere for him and Magnussen to go but the wall, which is just really unfortunate, I suppose. It's a shame, really, because it cost Magnussen about 6 points, because Magnussen was going to finish about 7th or 8th, so maybe 6 or 4 points. Instead, he got just the 1 for finishing in 10th, so it is a bit unlucky. Anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. I've been Harrison101. I will catch you later again in the week for more Dre TV. Until then, sayonara. Good to be back.